Welcome back to our series, Keeping the Blues at Bay. I'm Abby and we're here with the Middletown Historical Society trying to do a little baking to keep our spirits lifted during this period of quarantine. Today we're doing a recipe from the New Century Club's Reliable Recipes recipe book. That book was compiled in 1919, so more than 100 years ago. Today we're doing a fancy cake called beefsteak cake. And that recipe was submitted by Mrs. Frank H. McCormick. I'm going to send you over to our cook. Have a great time.
Hey everybody, so now we're doing our beefsteak cake. The recipe calls for 2/3 cup butter, 2 cups sugar, 3 eggs, 2/3 cup milk, 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon soda, 2 teaspoons cream of tartar. So then it says, divide this into 2 parts using yolks for dark part and whites for other. Adding to dark part 1 tablespoon flour, 2 tablespoons molasses, 1 teaspoon cinnamon, cloves, etc., ½ cup chopped raisins, bake in layers, put together with white icing. So what we're first going to do is we're first going to go ahead and put together our butter and sugar. Okay everybody, so here we go. We put in our 2/3 cup of butter and we're about to put in our 2 cups of sugar, but I'm just going to go ahead and soften the butter a little bit more with the hand mixer. Again, just so you're aware, the hand mixers weren't electrified back 100 years ago. They did have hand mixers, they just were hand cranked as well instead of electrified. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay guys, so next we're going to add our 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So we'll just go ahead and shake this in. Okay, next is the 2/3 cup of milk. Okay, so now that we've mixed all this up together, I'm going to add our 3 cups of flour. So this is 2 cups here, and then I have another cup right over here. And then I'm just going to mix it all in. Okay, so now we need to add the eggs to the ingredients. So what we're going to have to do though is we have to divide it up so that the egg yolks can go into the darker batch and the egg whites will go into the lighter batch. So I'm divided my dough in half here, and so let me go ahead and just pour the bit of dough that I want into this bowl. And now we get to divide 3 eggs into whites and yolks. So, you know, you see on all these videos on social media this easy way of dividing egg yolks, but I've never had success with any of them. So my hands always seem to be the easiest way of doing it. Alrighty guys, so now the next thing we're going to do is, just to finish this batter off, all we have to do is add the egg whites to this batch, and then our white light side will be done. Alrighty, so next we're going to do our darker side of this steak cake. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add our egg yolks in, and then we're going to go ahead and add a tablespoon of flour after we mix it up. Okay, so now we're going to add in our 1 tablespoon of flour and then a bunch of spices with some molasses. So, here we go with 1 tablespoon of flour. And then we have a teaspoon of cinnamon. Always is a nice touch to add as much cinnamon as you like, as it's a nice flavor. A teaspoon of cloves is what it calls for here. And then the recipe says, etc. So we're gonna take that and say, you know, whatever extra spices you might wanna add. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some ground allspice, which is just a really nice seasoning that will just really make this very nice. And then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of molasses. So before I do that, I want to spray my tablespoon first so that the molasses will come off nice and easy. Okay, so we're just going to spray our tablespoon here. Make sure it's all nice and greased up. And then we'll just add 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons. So that'll be really nice. I love the taste of molasses. You didn't see that. And we'll just go ahead and make all of this up. And we'll have our darker side of this cake. Okay, so now after we have the joys of nibbling our little ingredients, we wash our hands again, and then we're going to add in our 1/2 cup of raisins, chopped raisins to be sure. Put them in there, and then I'm just gonna fold them in and make it all go together. As you can see, we have a nice dark side. Okay, so now, as you can see, we have 2 really nice sides for our Swiss steak cake. And so now we have to put them in the cake pans. And we're gonna do, again, we don't have any temperature to put the oven at or time to bake it with, so we're gonna go ahead and keep it at 350, and we're gonna keep an eye on it, but I'm gonna guesstimate about a 1/2 hour again, but we'll keep an eye on it and see what it does. Okay, so now we have our dark side and our light side. So I have our greased pans here, and so I'm just gonna go ahead and put them in, and we will then put them in the oven at 350 degrees and go from there. Now that the cakes have cooled for a little bit, we're ready to ice them. So we let it bake for about 1/2 hour to 40 minutes, but you're gonna want the darker cake to bake longer, just so there's more stuff in it. So it's a little bit larger, and yeah, so that'll take probably about 45 minutes to bake, depending on the temperature that you put your oven at. So we went ahead and we took the time and we just made a simple buttercream icing. And then, but with this cake, they really say you can layer it. So if you don't want to put it in a circle pan like we did, you could probably get away with a couple smaller square pans so that you could layer and make 4 layers of it instead of just 2 like we're doing, to be a little bit more creative. But whatever you want to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to ice the bottom cake first, and then we're going to go ahead and put the other one on. There you have it, guys. We have our Swiss steak cake.